If you love flat season Prada boots, this is the app you need to be checking. And snap! Still got it. We're talking about Vestiaire Collective, the app that I check almost obsessively. One of the #1 complaints that I always hear about shopping pre-loved is that it's so hard, so time consuming to really go out and find those great pieces, but not anymore. Now the pieces can come to you in your inbox, in your size. What a time to be alive. I am definitely starting to get smarter and smarter about how I use this app to find some truly amazing pieces. So I wanted to share with you my experiences, some tips and tricks that I have learned over the way, and the top 3 things that I have my eye out for. I've been shopping on this app for around 2 years now, and I would say I'm happy with my purchases around 70% of the time. And honestly, I don't think that's that bad, because even if I bought a brand new item, sometimes I end up returning it for whatever reason it didn't work out. I have had 2 pretty significant complaints where I had to really get customer service involved. One was with a pair of Celine jeans that I received. They were advertised as the Margot jeans in white. However, when I received them, first tip off was I looked at the composition tag. The composition tag said that they were 100% cotton, and those things were so stretchy. There was obviously elastic inside of the jeans. Other 2 things that were just really off were the hardware. The hardware felt really kind of plasticky, like a electroplated plastic with a bunch of parting lines. Like, it just didn't look good. And then the way that the hardware was attached, it was with this material that looked like a leather that they just kind of stuck on. So those things were kind of really difficult to see in the picture, but in real life you can easily see that they were not real jeans. However, I just contacted customer service. They allowed me to send them back to them. They checked them out, they agreed with me, and they fully refunded me. It worked out fine, and the process really wasn't long and drawn out, so I was pretty happy with the result, and I'm happy to know that there are some checks in place in case something like that happens. The second incident I had was with a jacket. Now, this jacket was not a designer piece, so I thought, like, fine, just have it shipped to me. The description stated that it was in very good condition. However, when I received it, I saw that there were 2 pretty sizable holes in the jacket. And so again, I just contacted customer service. They sent me a label right away. I sent it back to them. They agreed with me. This was not very good condition, and so they refunded me. And again, didn't take that long. Overall, it worked out just fine. So things like that may happen on this app, but they seem to handle them pretty well. So that makes me return to the app again and again. So of course, there are several pros and cons about using this app, but let's talk about the pros first. They have a fairly sophisticated alert system, which means that if you're looking for a specific item or a specific category, you can set up an alert for that item or category, and you will get notifications either in the app or to your email, depending on your preference. As a shopper, I think that gives you a lot of horsepower. You don't have to constantly be on the app and worry about missing something, because you'll get a notification. Although I do tend to be on the app quite a bit because I like to look at pretty things. And that just leads into the next pro, which is it is fairly easy to search and get inspiration on this app. You can refine and search manually for items. However, they also have a very, very sophisticated edit system where they have their We Love list and they have their community edit, and usually every day or 2 they have a different edit. So they're continuously cycling through their inventory and showing you new and fresh things, which for me is just fun to peruse. The third pro being the availability of the authentication service. With pre-loved shopping, it can always be a bit of a risk, a gamble. Is it the real thing? Is it not the real thing? What is the condition going to match what it said and the description? This kind of takes the guesswork out of it, which gives me peace of mind. And I would say on the whole, the things that I have gotten authenticated, I have agreed with, and I've been really happy with that service. Another really great thing about the app is actually a lot of your local vintage stores are on it. There are many vintage stores that catalog their inventory and then they post it up on sites like this to have their products available to a wider audience. If you're in a situation where you don't have a great selection locally, this is something that kind of opens that up for you. Their customer service for me has been really helpful. From my 2 complaints that I've had with them, they've always been very responsive, and I've had my issue resolved in a way that I was really happy with. So I can give them nothing but high marks there. And then in the case that you do receive something, even if you got it authenticated, if it doesn't fit or it just doesn't work out for you, they do allow you to relist that item at the price that you paid for it within 72 hours and without an additional seller's fees. They have a pretty decent reach right now. They are in 74 countries. I don't know too many other services that are available that broadly, and so that's another pro. One of the biggest cons for me is definitely the shipping fees. That can certainly escalate the price of something that you thought you were getting a great deal, and then that gets tacked on and you're like, oh no. However, I would say that kind of has come in clutch in saving me from myself. There will be no hauls from this website because of those shipping fees. Every item is shipped individually and you have to pay that shipping fee for every individual item. So I really save this site for those really special pieces. Another thing that would really take this app over the edge is allowing you to actually search your wish list. So if you don't remember if you added an item, when you added the item, or how much it costs, you gotta do a lot of scrolling if you have a very long wish list. However, there is a silver lining to that as well. It really kind of forces you to keep your wish list very concise, so it doesn't kind of just go into the black hole and just become the same thing as just searching the We Love list. Although their reach is pretty significant, they are not reaching all of the markets. They don't operate in Africa or India right now. So there are some pretty significant markets that they don't even service. Lastly, say you got something and you were not happy with the fit, or you just weren't happy with the item for whatever reason. Yes, you can relist it within 72 hours, but you are just kind of going back into the pool. So then it has to sell all over again, which can take some time. So definitely think about that. And so here are some tips and tricks that I have in order to make the best of the pros and cons of this app. So tip number 1, fall in lust, but take it slow. Don't load up your basket right away. Number 1, the shipping fees are not going to allow you to do that. But really try to understand the basics, like what type of fit do you like? What are your measurements? Where do you like things to hit? So take the sleeve length. I love things to hit, like for me, like around my wrist. And so I know that is 58 centimeters. So if it's gonna be something that is longer than 58 centimeters, there's a chance that it might work for me. Of course, measuring can be plus or minus depending on how someone measured, but again, I have a fighting shot of finding something that I actually really love. Also, you might even want to consider taking a measuring tape with you if you just go and try something on in general. When you really start to learn the things that you like on your body, even just in a fitting room of a regular price or a new item, you can really put that into your repository for when you are shopping secondhand. Tip number 2, ask all the questions. Definitely contact the seller directly. You can easily do this on that app. You can ask them specifics, like again, the sleeve length or any type of lengths or measurements that you really want to pay attention to. Also, you can ask them about the condition. Sometimes I have just straight up asked people like, hey, does this item smell? Do it. If they recorded it, then you definitely have the basis to make a complaint if it's not in compliance. Ask for additional pictures. You can even ask for pictures of them measuring it if you are unclear of how they measured it. So there's so much power that you can kind of take back if you just contact the seller directly. Tip number 3, definitely use the authentication service, especially if you are purchasing a designer item. You are always paying a premium for that name anyway, so you don't want to be taken for a ride. Even if you're not buying something that is a designer piece, use the authentication if you are in question. If you've contacted the seller and you are still unclear, or you just want that extra peace of mind, just use the authentication. Tip number 4, I would avoid mass manufactured items. So I'm just gonna cite like Levi jeans as an example. Now they have a very long tradition of making great jeans. However, they have a very complex supply chain. They manufacture in different locations. They have a gazillion different models. So the fit really may be all over the place. Those are the type of things that I would prefer to shop in person. And there's plenty more examples, not just Levi jeans, but try to consider that. How well do you think you can actually rely on the sizing? Because, The last tip goes without saying, but I'm gonna say it. If it seems too good to be true, it probably is. So again, my example where I bought the Celine jeans, the price was rather low. That should have been my first tip off, but I mean, you live and you learn. And now I'm sharing it with you. And now let's get into the top 3 things that I have my eye out for on this app. Number 1 being vintage Prada bags. Now, there's a reason that they are doing so many re-releases. It's because their designs were clean, they were minimal, they're classic. And so I love that. And I also love that extra dimension of wear and tear on it. I just absolutely love when a piece gets a little bit of patina. So I'm looking at a couple of different shapes. One mainly being the Clio shape, and the second being the 1995 shape. Now, most of the pieces that I'm seeing out there right now are in the black color, which is not what I want if you have seen some other videos. And I still have in my mind, there was a red one on the site, and I so regret that I did not snap that one up. But it was in Australia. I couldn't make the justification to have it shipped all the way from Australia to me here, so she's the one that got away. But here's a look at some other really great pieces. I really love the brushed leather look that they have, the one that's a bit more shiny. Some of these are more matte, they're more pebbled leather. The one in white, almost, I kind of like that one, but I'm a little concerned about the condition of that one. It has significant staining on the inside. The second thing is designer men's suits. You know, my style is slightly masculine, and I just really feel my most beautiful, my most confident, effortless when I have on silhouettes that are a bit oversized and styling that is really kind of undone. I love when you have extra volume around your shoulders and how that can make your waist look proportionately small. I also love having fabric that kind of floats away from the wider areas of my body, and it really allows you to be very intentional with a garment or 2 garments in the case of a suit about how you create different shapes and silhouettes on your body. Really, the 2 main criteria that I'm looking for is the oversizedness of the piece and the quality of the fabric, because I'm looking for volume and draping. The next thing on my list are slingbacks. Now, slingbacks are having a bit of a moment right now, and rightly so. We have so many different oversized silhouettes. It's just really creating a lot of nice tension and contrast when you have something that is a bit more dainty and pointy. Also, it has the added functionality of you can be essentially wearing sandals and not have to have a pedicure. So I absolutely love that about slingbacks, and I'm definitely looking forward to adding some to my collection. And so there you have it. That is my take on the Vestiaire app that I use quite a lot to find some truly amazing pieces fairly easily and without leaving my house. Tusen tack. Thank you so much for watching. Especially big shout out to Joyce and June and Lily and Connie and Trusted Trunks, and really all of you who have been giving me so much great encouragement in the comments. I will see you in the next video.